So, a lot of times when you're doing a sequential story, you will need to draw figures that are interacting with each other. We want to plan and stage, and to do that in a convenient way, we are going to start off with some basic Loomis sort of construction. And what that is we draw a ball and then a line down the middle, so the nose and the middle of the mouth would come out here, and then a cross to represent the brow, right? And that indicates where this person is looking, right? So let's say I have a depressed person looking at their plate, looking down, not enthusiastic about eating. No, there's no face here, but we can improvise. And then here's the friend, just chatting up, trying to chat them up and cheer them up. Maybe make a joke. Right? It's clear where the heads are looking, and we do this kind of with the cross technique. Now, another thing. Sometimes it helps to put a dot where the top of the head is. Right? And here the top of the head, that's through the head. It's see-through. This person, it's just the top. So one thing to do is to just draw a bunch of people kind of looking in different directions. How does that affect the shape of the cross? Right? If I do it like that. And then I have, this person looking... I might put the top of the head there, the brow there, and then have them looking down that way. Maybe I want it down towards the middle a bit more, right? But what we want is this cross. So from here, that's how we rough in the head into thumbnails. I think it's a productive way to do it. It's a quick, easy fix. You don't have to keep redrawing the face over and over and over. It's just bam, bam, bam. And so what this means, though, is that when you take drawings into finish, you are going to have to construct from here, right? You're going to have to take that ball and draw forms around it to draw like an actual face. So I'll do a better version of that. So it kind of looks like this. And now I'm going to give you a rough overview, and then I'm going to go into more detail. So if I have a character, I want them... Why don't we do somebody looking up? That could be a challenge. It's a fun challenge. Well, I want their brow here. Okay, so the cross is right there. And I want them looking up. So I might... essentially turn this into an oval, sort of. This line comes all the way down. I might, it's almost like I'm sculpting. I'm making cuts. I know the nose is there. And then I draw the mouth. Right? And so what I'm going to show you is basically how to construct in that kind of a way. And, what we need to be thinking about. For whatever reason, I'm not able to lighten this. I think perhaps the... yes, color profile is off. Don't flatten. All right, so... I don't know why they don't let you lighten things like this in grayscale, but they don't. So, Command U is that shortcut in Photoshop. So... Again, I would draw the cross and then have this up here, and draw the nose, and I'm going to show you what basic shapes I use. Now, these are basic shapes that I just work for me. Everybody thinks differently, and so I would encourage everybody to get a clear understanding, and this happens naturally over time, of thinking and drawing limitations and making basic shapes around those limitations. We all have them. My basic shapes You know, I used other people's for a long time. I realized I don't really think like that, you know. I do much more successful drawing if I think this way. So that influenced the shapes that I use, right? So here we go, and then I have the cheekbones here. Right, so now we have a nice, I mean, it doesn't look very friendly, but it's a face. And from here I just sculpt. And so this is a rough overview of what we'll be doing. I'm just trying to prepare you. The face has some very distinct proportions, and we can learn about these by looking at the materials. I am going to show head construction and not so much face construction. While faces are important, they rest on a head. So we need a good, solid foundation to throw that expressive face onto, and we want to throw it on accurately. I work best from a 3/4 view. That's what I'm most comfortable with. I may not use these, but I do at a minimum want to have them as an option so I can show you sort of how things will work three-dimensionally, right? So I'm going to make this the 3/4 head. And so I want the center line actually coming, well, doing the other direction. He's looking at these faces. This is what I am comfortable with. And really, feel free to gesture this in. It's just like a straight ahead 3/4 view. Ah, beautiful. All right, top of the head. And then this is, oh, you'll see. So we start with these balls, right? We're going to start with this ball. And about a third up from like the central axis of this ball is something we want to acknowledge and draw an ellipses. So, oh, we gotta make room for the lawnmower there. I don't know if you guys can hear me. So what we want, I think it's heading away. All right. So what we want is to almost cut into the sphere, almost like we're sculpting, right? And this cut, oh, here it comes again. This cut right here is actually where the bottom of the nose is, right? So I'm drawing out the nose right there. That's the bottom of the nose. We also want to take care of the eye sockets and the side of the face. So one thing is that the heads are not round. There's a planar shift on each side. And so I'm kind of making a cut here, right? And on the other side, I'm making that cut. And that's the planar shift right there. That, oh, got a little sloppy with the, drawing digitally is not my strong suit, right? So now we have this face, and actually I would like to come out. So these cuts kind of flare out. Some people just do it at 90 degrees, that's fine. I like mine to have a little flare. So then from here, we would make the eye sockets, and we're not just going to draw a couple of balls to represent the eye sockets. This is actually a structure, and I'd make a cut in the side, and I carry that all the way through to there. I make a cut in the side, and this is the eye socket. So the eyes will actually be about right here. But what we want to do before we start throwing in eyes is create the nose, finish up the nose. So we have the bottom of the nose here, and we can take this down the center, and the nose just kind of connects right up into this plane here, right? So we have a nice wedge for the nose. And this center line is important, but I'm going to erase it now just for the sake of clarity. I might redraw it in or draw it a little lighter. So now we have the top part of the head, right? This is good. From here, now we want to do the jaw. And my rule of thumb for the jaw proportionally is that the chin is about 1/3 of these down. That wasn't explained well. The distance between the bottom of this to the top of the brow, or really the bottom of the brow, is the same distance between here and the chin, right? So I know as a measuring thing, I can kind of use that. From here, the jaw comes in, on some people it's like 2/3 back. On other people it's a half. It really doesn't matter. you just don't want to have it up here. So I'm going to draw that in and connect that to the chin. And continue this plane kind of down the side of the face. And I'm going to continue it here. Now the jaw does flare a bit, and so I need to replicate that on the other side. And this is the kind of planar construction of the shape of the face that I think is a good base. So here's the deal. This is all you really need to know to continue forward. And you can stop the video. But if you'd like a little more detail, that's about what I'm going to go into. A lot of people have difficulty drawing the underside of the nose. I'm going to show how I handle that, and I might show some mouth stuff too. So here we go. If we want to elaborate on cheekbones, I'm going to do those too. So from here, I'm going to show you how to do cheekbones. Cheekbones are kind of a bizarre thing. I'm going to erase this under drawing here so that we just have the planes. I don't need that. So this is the planar construction of the head that I use. It's simple. Now the nose is a little wide, so I'm going to cut that down. I'm going to narrow that out a bit. All right, let's do this. So the cheekbones, right? I kind of, sort of 1/4 of the way across, which is really like the nose to there, half of that right here. And then I do the same on the other side. And I just kind of draw a triangle out and try to catch it. Remember this cut we made earlier? That's where it ends. So we want to do that on the other side too. And then from there, we can sort of do that. Now, I get a little playful here. That kind of cut isn't what gives you like the most accurate, amazing, clear cheekbone. But it does something to provide the foundation for one. And that's all we're really going for. So there. Some people draw these a little higher. And what you'll see is that the cheekbones don't just come across. They sort of go up, down from the ear, right? So that's how I communicate that. And then I erase this line. So we have cheekbones in the face now. Right, I'm going to actually push this out a bit. There we go, some cheekbones. And then there is actually some, they protrude. So there might be a shadow under there a bit, under here, right? And a really kind of gaunt looking person. And there we go. Boy, those are really some overemphasized cheeks there. So from here, if we want to kind of put in the mouth is like a tube. I know this is counterintuitive, but think about it. Our teeth kind of go around like this, right? From the skull, if this is the nose. And so that's kind of how we draw it on here. So we can do a tube or a ball. A ball kind of takes into account what the lips do. And then, get that ball just right. You gotta have a good mouth ball. And then from here, I know that the mouth is about 1/3 of the way down from nose to chin. About 1/3. So I make a mark there, and I make sure the mouth goes around this ball and down the other side. The bottom lip, you can communicate that with just a line there. And then from here, you can kind of draw the chin kind of poking out that way. But this is the basic shape of the head. As for eyes, I wasn't going to get into those because this is where you can get really stylized. I just put a couple of balls, and then depending on the look of the character, I shape their eyelids accordingly. Eyelids really, for whatever reason, communicate a lot about a person's likeness. And so I might wrap the lid around, wrap this lid around, right? And that is how I would do eyes. They're about the same width as the nose in most people. And there are various charts and diagrams of faces that show all those proportions, but that is secondary to what I'm trying to teach. So, we're going to play around with that anyway. When you're cartooning, you don't actually adhere to those because everybody looks the same and it's boring. So with the nose, right? The dreaded underside of the nose. I'm going to show you the planes for that. So we started off with this kind of wedge shape. All right? There is a shape down here right in the middle of the nose. Let's see, is that down the middle? Yeah. So, let me redraw. Okay, down the middle of the nose, where this can kind of come, right? The point can kind of go. And then from there, I mark these here. This is the bottom of each nostril, and they just kind of wrap around, right? And these are planar. The nostrils, there's a plane there, and from there I would draw them up. And this is sort of how I handle doing the underside of the nose. Up here there's a plane. The cartilage has like a kind of shift here, but really I don't get too into the intricacies of the specific plane shape there. After this, I lighten it however I see fit, and I just kind of do the nostrils. I try to keep the gesture of it, and I just draw a ball right there, and I know that the flesh comes right into here. And then on the tip of that ball I put this, and then I continue the shape of that ball up here, right? That's kind of how it goes. Now, this ball is cartilage. I'm actually going to move this down lower. And this is all on the same plane. All of this stuff down here is all kind of on the same underside of the plane. And that's where I think a lot of people get lost. They don't know what is straight ahead, what's on a plane, you know. So the bone structure of the nose, I always feel like these cartilaginous, these lines representing the cartilage here, they just kind of contain the nose bone. Then, right, this kind of thing that flares out. And there we go. We have a nice gigantic nose. I was zoomed in really far, otherwise I would have done it, you know, probably a bit smaller for the ideal figure, but maybe this guy is, you know, a gruff dude in his late 50s. People that are older tend to have bigger noses and bigger ears because those, like, never stop growing. So there we go. That's a little narrow up here at the top, so I'm going to fix that. And this is base level head construction. Right? So I think that should be sufficient. If you've noticed, lips have some folds and subtleties here. You know, the cheekbones, like there's, because of the way that, like, tissue and muscle sort of are structured over them, a lot of times they kind of make this triangle shape in the front. As to why that happens, that just take a close look at a bunch of anatomy, and you'll probably be able to see it. But a lot of times this is sort of what cheekbones end up doing. Right, so I have that, and then I have, you know, a lot of times people have this thing going on if they're older. Right, there's a muscle down here. So up here, it looks like it's all one thing, but actually this portion of this line is a muscle that connects from the actually from the jaw, from the cheekbone down to the jaw, and then this is just what, like, facial tissue does. But it makes one shape, basically, especially here on the other side, and that's kind of what I'm drawing there. Yeah. So, and then there's the eye socket. So I hope that's helpful. That is how I rough in faces.